Welcome to the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast, where we are building a community of people who are in the midst of midlife, sharing our stories and learning from each other along the way. Each week, I'll have a guest join me to discuss a topic that impacts our lives and touches on some aspect of midlife. We'll discuss relationships, transitions, health and well-being, parenting, careers, and more. My goal is to encourage and support you and help you thrive as you navigate this adventure of midlife. Join me here each week for the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast. This week on the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast, I'm speaking with Jodi Stepanek. Jodi is a wife, a mom to 2 teenage daughters, and a certified meditation and mindfulness instructor. She founded Big Heart Meditation and Mindfulness in January of 2021 and has been on the peace train ever since. In this episode, Jodi shares how the benefits of meditation and other practices have changed her life and led her to encourage and support others. After taking a workshop, Jodi became a consistent meditator and decided to pursue her certification and started her own business to support others to create a more peaceful and healthy life. She also hosts retreats and works with athletes on meditation and mindfulness. Check the show notes to connect with Jodi on her Facebook page and learn more about her upcoming workshops and events. Jodi Stepanek, welcome to the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I am so excited that you are here. It is a rainy day here in Iowa, but we need it. So hopefully we won't hear the rain too much. We are in a building with a metal roof though, so no guarantees on that.
Hey, we're good.
We're good. We're going to make it work. I think our voices will overshadow any rain that we may hear during the episode today. But I'm very excited that you're here. Before we get into your story, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the listeners, just share about yourself, your family, and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Jodi Stepanek. I am a Cedar Rapidian. I have been here, oh my goodness, over 25, almost 30 years.
Awesome.
And so I am a wife. I am a mother to 2 beautiful teenage girls.
Yes, the teenage years. We were talking about that before we started recording.
Yes.
They're glorious. Just glorious. And if you can't detect the sarcasm in my voice, you're missing it. So
I know. I'm also, I'm a really good friend to people.
Love that.
I'm a good colleague. I'm a coach in the athletic space. And so those are a couple things about me, but I'm also a certified meditation and mindfulness instructor. Yes. And that is currently what I am doing professionally. For years, about 21 years of my life, I managed a law firm. And I made a transition into the meditation space.
That is kind of a hard left. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll tell us how law and meditation are related somehow. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really connect those two, but hey, I mean, there's got to be something, right? I mean, something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what your story has to reveal to our listeners today. But I thank you for that. I appreciate that. We met through Lindsay Leahy.
We did.
Who is just a wonderful person. She was an episode several weeks ago in this season. And if you haven't listened to Lindsay's episode, go check it out. Get her book, all the things. You need to listen to the episode to hear more about her book that came out. But I'm excited that Lindsay was generous enough to share you with me for this because
she is a ray of sunshine. She is just one of the coolest chicks, and I am super fortunate that our paths have crossed. And we are neighbors.
Well, that's even better then. You are physically close to her, so you can be like, I need to get to you. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that is great. Well, again, so glad that she introduced the two of us because we have talked previously about your story and the shift, the pretty big shift that happened to you personally and professionally. And I'd love for you to share more about what happened, share that aspect of things, what was the catalyst for the shift, any
specific factors that impacted the decisions that you made, and just love to share kind of how you got to where you're at right now.
So really, I know I've been a high achiever my whole life. Just kind of that, to able to do a lot of things in a short amount of time. And it stems from grade school to high school to college, and so on. And so after I graduated, I went into the legal field, thought about law school for a little while, and then decided I didn't want to go that route.
Yeah.
And so I had the most amazing boss at the firm I was at. And it's funny, in my first interview, I said, this isn't what I want to do, but I'll probably just stay a year.
Great statement in an interview,
and
right?
he hired me.
That's awesome.
I know.
Love that.
He hired me, and after 6 weeks, I think I was a part-time person. I went to full-time, and then after a year, it was just a really great environment, and then I thrived, in all the things. And so I kind of worked my way up, and so I managed the firm for about, I would say, 15 of the 21 years I was there. However, I had a little sabbatical. And so, the little sabbatical, which we call it a sabbatical now, but I quit. I quit 13 years in, because I couldn't figure my shit out.
Yeah.
So at that point in my life, I had just had baby number 2. I was experiencing anxiety, but not knowing that it was anxiety. I was struggling with just some simple coping skills. And I remember one day I was driving to work, and I got to work with both my children in my car. And I didn't know it. And I'm like, how did I just drive 20 minutes and not realize they're in the back of my car still? So I had to drive them all the way back, then come all the way back. And I knew then I needed some help.
Yeah.
And so I contacted my doctor, and when I went in, she told me that, number 1, my blood pressure was through the roof, but number 2, that she was going to put me on some anxiety medicine. And I said, well, I'm not one of those people. And she goes, those people. So you talk about judgment, right?
Yeah. And your body was physically manifesting the symptoms. I mean, it was all coming out physically, and you were starting to see some things in the mental health space, but your physical health was affected. Yeah.
And what's wild is that I didn't realize any of that. I didn't have the awareness then that I do now. And so I knew I didn't want to be on medication long term. I knew my stressors were directly related to work. And my husband and I made the decision of, hey, why don't I stay home with kids?
Yeah.
And let's try that. So, of course, my boss was amazing. He listened. I mean, he got me a limo on my last day. My kids were, Steve is by far one of the best humans out there. And what was interesting, Nicole, is that while my stressors went away and I went off all the medication because that was my primary stressor, I still struggled because that was my identity. So we talk about that, where it's like, what do you do? Oh, I used to be a manager of a law firm, but now I just stay home. So I had to navigate that.
That is an entire process.
That's it. Yes.
All in itself right there. Yeah.
And so I had about a year off where I just hunkered down with kids. And then, I realized, the universe works in some interesting ways. I got a call to go back to coach college softball. I kind of left that part out. I coached.
Oh, yeah. That's right. You coached. Yes,
I did.
Yes.
So I coached for 9 years. And then when you have kids, obviously your priorities change and time changes. Sure. And so I did have to give that up. But I got an opportunity to go back. And so I'm like, yes, I love that space. And in that same day, my boss called and asked me to come back to the firm because he needed help. And I loved him so much.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll come back and help, 10 hours a week.
Part-time-ish.
Part-time-ish. Yeah. So 10 turned to 20, 20 turned to 30, 30 turned to full-time. And I was back managing the firm, but with a different perspective. So my perspective had changed with, I knew I had to put myself first, right?
Yeah.
And then probably the biggest catalyst for change. So after I went through all of that and got my health under control, I had one of my best friends, her husband got diagnosed with a glio grade 4 brain tumor. And when something like that happens, that's terminal, you just look at things differently. Yeah. So my husband and I were like, what are we doing? What are we putting in our bodies? How are we spending our time, our energy, our effort?
Yeah.
What matters most?
Right. Yeah.
And so we really rallied around the Rich family. It was Perry Rich, who was just my dear friend, and his wife Darcy. And after Perry passed, someone mentioned a class I should go to. And I'm like, I don't know if I have time.
Right. People mention those things in passing, and you kind of start to think, oh, well, that's okay for them or somebody else, but maybe not me.
Yeah.
I'm busy. I've got so many things going on. I can't fit one more thing in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then my heart had a little whisper and said, you should sign up for this. And let me tell you, that's where I'm going straight on the tracks, and I do a complete left turn.
Wow.
So this was in August of 2016, actually August 12th and August 13th. It was a 2-day workshop. It was with Marsha Neeland at Fusion Studio downtown. And Marsha is amazing.
Awesome.
And she brought in a person. Her name was Aviana Castro. And the first session was about intuition. The second session was about Dr. Wayne, the teachings of Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yep.
How words have vibrations. And then the third one was meditation. And I had never meditated before.
Yeah.
And you talk about going from a go, 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 go.
Oh yeah. Your brain just firing all the time.
Firing all the time. And I was always in the doing space and never in the being space.
Ooh, that needs to be like on a t-shirt.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, it does. And so what I experienced that day for me, and this doesn't happen for, a lot of people, but for me, it was like a light switch flipped. I was like, what was that? Because I never slowed down. It was, I was go, go, go. And so I left there and physically the sky was bluer. I noticed the trees around me.
Wow.
I had this intense, we are all interconnected. It was wild. And so I knew I needed more of it. But I just didn't know how yet.
Right.
So I enlisted the help of a mentor, who got me on, a meditation, kind of plan. So helped guide me in that space of what I should do.
Created kind of like a practice for you to
create a practice.
Some steps to kind of get into this a little more.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I would say as of October 1st of 2016, I became a consistent meditator.
Wow. So I want to pause just for a second because I'm curious about this. A lot of people think, oh, I could never meditate. I can't shut my brain off. I can't sit still that long or whatever the reason is. I've had those thoughts, right? Your mind starts to wander about what am I cooking for dinner tonight? And blah, blah, blah. Can you, and if you want to keep going with the story, that's fine too, or share this later. But I would love for you to just share why everyone can meditate because.
Well, it's your birthright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
The misconception is we can't shut off our brains. Well, you can't because you'd be dead. It's about calming the mind. And so meditation is, it's an ancient practice, but it's a technique to help settle your nervous system, to help you become more in the present moment.
Yeah. Oh, and is that something today that I feel like we're hearing more about being present, but whether we're actually doing it, like we all should be present. We all have these phones in our hands now and all these things going on, but actually really being present that's intense.
It's
intense.
Serious.
Yeah.
But it's also where you find joy.
Yeah. And
to be here.
And do you feel like it's necessary? I mean, I feel like it's necessary. And I think if more people were willing to just try it, and you're not going to be like perfect that first time. I mean, they may not have the experience that you had with that workshop that you did, but if they're willing to try it and not give up, and just keep working towards it, I think they would find it to be incredibly powerful and helpful for them.
I would say even 2 minutes of meditation, 1 minute, 30 seconds of deep breathing, whatever, wherever you can find a space to just sit calm and just be, you know, so whether it's you're doing a mantra where maybe things are chaotic in your world and you just need a little bit of peace. So on the inhale, you say, I am. And on the exhale, you say peace.
Oh.
2 of the most important words, I am and what follows. How often do we say I am and then something negative?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we have
our inner dialogues of ourselves
we have somewhere between
terrible.
12 and 60,000 thoughts a day. And 80% of them, Nicole, are negative. 95% of that 80 are negative from the day before because we sit in a space of rumination.
Right. The mistakes you made.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Didn't speak to your child the way you wanted to, or you upset a colleague at work or whatever. Yeah.
And then you play that story over and over.
On repeat. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
So really for me, did I have a consistent practice, every single day after that? No. But I got better every day.
Yeah.
And so maybe I did 2 minutes one day, 5 minutes the next day. And then another day I had, a longer period of time. So I did 15 minutes and then I went back to 5 minutes. I used an app called Insight Timer.
Okay.
It's a free meditation app. It's the #1 app to help reduce stress, anxiety, and help with sleep.
Okay.
And for me, that was the accountability piece because it logs it for you.
Oh, nice.
But the coolest thing is that, I'm doing all of this, and I have this mentor and, she checks in with me periodically. And, probably the biggest thing she shared with me that day in October was, Jodi, you're missing it. You're missing the clues and the clarity that are right in front of you because you have 1 foot out the door all the time and sometimes 2. And
wow.
Because I would be, if I'm sitting here talking to you, I would be thinking about something else. But I'm right here with you. Our eyes are locked in.
Right.
We're engaged in this conversation. That wasn't who I used to be. And so,
oh my gosh, yeah.
What I did from that day is that my youngest daughter is a late riser. And, in the mornings, if we're a mom, okay, so we're busy. We're doing everything for everybody. And so it's getting that email off before everybody's getting up for school and you're changing the laundry and we're getting breakfast and everyone's getting out the door, but you have to be ready for work. And so what I would do is that when Julia would wake, I literally would stop what I was doing. I would get down to her level. I would look her in the eye. I would hug her. I would tell her I'm thankful she's ready to start her day.
Oh, wow.
October 1st, 2016, I've done that every single day.
I love that.
She now comes and finds me.
Wow.
She hugs me. If I'm still laying in bed and she's getting on the bus at 6:45, she comes and hugs me. It's created that.
That is powerful to me because I think how often as parents do we do exactly the opposite. We just get everybody out the door and then we, or we get ourselves out the door barely, right, on time. And to have that moment, you intentionally decided, I'm going to do this every single day.
Yes.
And it can transform your morning, her morning, your relationship. Now, is every day, perfect? But as long as you get that moment with her, it might be 30 seconds, a minute. I mean, it may not be, you're not hugging her for 20 minutes. It might be very brief, but that sets your day up, her day up for a different path than if you just, pushed her out the door or you flew out the door or whatever, the day brings. That's really, and that's a practice that if I had to guess, she'll do with her family.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Very simple thing, but very powerful impact, I feel like.
It's being present.
Yeah.
That's really like our kids want us to be present.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get teary about it.
No,
but they want us to see them. They want us to hear them. They have our unconditional love and we say that, but do we show it?
Right. Right.
And so those are those moments that I just, if all that happened to me for just that one moment, for me to create that change, then it was 100% worth it. But Nicole, I'm less reactive. I have a greater perspective of just life in general. I tell both my kids, they got two different moms. My oldest got a different mom versus my younger one.
Yeah.
Because I was different.
Right. You've changed. You've made some very impactful decisions and changes in your life and how you're navigating that then will flow to them. And I 100% agree on the kids wanting us present. I think our kids, depending on how old your children are, if you have older children, this may not have impacted you, but with our kids that are the age there, we all have had these devices in our hands, for so long. They've, how often do we fail to lift our eyes up, when they're coming towards us, talking to us. And sometimes they don't choose exactly the right moment.
No,
it's, at this age anymore, I'm in bed about 9 and then in the evening and my son that's when he'll want to start talking to me about something. And I'm like, but you have to put that device away or shut that television off or whatever it is. Yep. And like you said, look them in the eye and be present. And it's so powerful. And again, do I get it right every day? Absolutely not. But more often than not, we have to try to do that. And I love how you talk about the two different moms, because it shows that like, this is what I have gained. This is what I have learned. And now my kids are benefiting from that. It's obviously impacted you in a lot of incredibly positive ways, but it has a massive ripple effect to how you parent, relationships, all the things, the clients now that you serve in your practice and things that you're doing. So you talked about your mentor who put you kind of on a practice. How did that then evolve for you into what you're doing now? Like how did those things kind of, because you said you were missing it.
Yeah.
And so,
and that was an eye opener.
Yeah.
From 2016 to 2019, I went into a little bit of a cocoon, where I didn't watch very much TV. I did a ton of journaling. I meditated pretty consistently. And what was wild is that people were noticing a change.
Okay.
Other people, my colleagues. So at the firm, I was less reactive, way more chill. I had more compassion. I would actually listen to understand where someone was coming from instead of already having a message in my mind. And so that part was, cool. I had a particular thing happen where I had a loved one call me on the phone and they wanted to kind of say their piece. They maybe didn't believe in the path that I was taking. One of the stereotypes is that, with meditation is that you're praying to a different God. Oh, I am not. It actually has strengthened my connection with God. And so this person wanted to share that with me. And the coolest part, Nicole, is that as they're saying all these things, I never had the bubbling up. I never got defensive. I was never upset because their reality was not mine.
Right.
And I had this emotional control to just be okay with that. That was the turning point for me.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, how did I just react that way? Where 3 years ago, I would have called all my friends. Can you believe she said this? Blah, blah, blah. Sit and stewed for days. Right?
Yep. And your reaction to that relative might have been firing back, all kinds of defensiveness. And
yes.
I can't believe you're saying that. And the whole 9 yards.
None
right?
of that. So that for me was the game changer, where I'm like, ooh, I want to know more about the science.
Yeah.
How is this possible? How have I changed this much? And so I went on a retreat, a yoga meditation retreat, and one of the women there, Aviana, had suggested that I do meditation teacher training. And I thought about it, and then I was like, I'm going to do this for myself. I want to know more. I believe the journey inward is the most important. Mm-hmm. We have to know ourselves. I want to lead by example. I want to have this light that comes from me that my girls are proud of. And if we don't know ourselves, I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
And so I applied for the teacher training. I got in, and I didn't take it to teach. That's the wild part. Now I'm teaching.
Right.
But I knew I wanted more. And I remember graduation day, it was via Zoom. The pandemic had happened.
Oh, sure.
All the things. And I remember Sarah McLean. I did McLean Meditation Institute, and Sarah is a gem. Oh my goodness. She wrote all the programming for Deepak Chopra.
Oh, wow.
She lived for 2 years with Byron Katie.
Oh my gosh.
She, her life story is,
I'll link to her in the show notes so people can learn more about her.
And so she asked us to say 3 words, and my 3 words were, I am ready. And she smiled. And it's, I don't know how I can't share this with people.
Yeah.
This, I mean, it's just, it's magical. And I want people to be able to feel just a little pocket of peace in the chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what we crave.
Right.
Do we want to be angry and frustrated during the holidays? No.
Nope.
Do we want to be angry and frustrated at work all the time? No. I have a lot going on in my life right now. And I have this river of like calm. And it's so flipping cool.
That's amazing.
And so that's what I want to share.
Right. Right. You have personally been impacted and experienced this, and you realized you were ready to share it with more people and get it out there into the world. And you're teaching.
I am.
And you're doing it. And you're teaching this to others. And so you're helping them to explore their authentic selves and taking their own journey inward like you did. So share a little bit about what that looks like right now for you. You're hosting workshops and retreats, and kind of what has that experience been like? What does that look like for you?
So the name of my company is Big Heart Meditation and Mindfulness. I'm currently at Co-College. I teach every single week there. And what I do is I lead a guided meditation session. So today's session is about forgiveness. So I'll talk about how forgiveness showed up in my life. We'll do a forgiveness meditation, and then we'll talk for 1 or 2 minutes afterwards. And then that's it. Wow. For them, and that's with faculty, staff, and students. And I'm just thankful that this is my 4th year being there.
That's awesome.
That they provide that opportunity for students to be in that space. I also have classes at Vela Yoga. And so I do a Sunday night.
Shout out to Vela Yoga, Stephanie Neighbor-Cubic.
Yes.
She's been on a couple of times on the podcast. So.
Oh my gosh, I love Stephanie.
She is the best.
Stephanie and I do retreats together.
Oh.
Yeah. So
we will be linking to all this in the show notes, by the way, because I'm sitting here going, oh yes. Okay.
Yeah.
2 of my favorite people doing a retreat. That sounds pretty fabulous to me.
So I'm at her studio on Sunday nights, usually once a month. And I have anywhere from 14 to 20 women, usually women, but some men come.
Yeah.
And it's an 1.5-hour session. And really it's creating the container for people to just rest, restore, and be in that peaceful space.
Wow.
And there's always discussion. That's usually my favorite part about, how people felt during it or what they're going through.
Do you find people like spill their guts to you when they've been in these sessions or not really? Do they feel really like when they're done, do they just feel like, safe kind of, maybe not spill their guts. That's not the right term, but like kind of just feel so comfortable and open that things just start kind of pouring out a little bit.
And I think there's power in story.
Absolutely.
And so, and here's an example. I had a daughter bring her mom who her husband had passed the year prior. She didn't really want to be there, but her daughter brought her. And then my next class, she showed up by herself.
Wow.
And she was like, okay. And I'm like, huh. And then the third time she brought a friend.
Wow.
And as we're sitting there and it's at the end of the night, we're going through and you can choose to talk or not talk. Right. She chose not to talk the first 2 times. And the third class she chose to talk and she was the last person. And she goes, I didn't realize you all have stuff too. She goes, I thought I was alone.
Oh,
and we all were like, "Oh, girl,
no,
we're in it.
Everybody's
we're in the thick of it."
Yeah,
and so that was so powerful for me.
Wow,
because we have to listen to our heart.
Yeah,
I listened to my heart whisper when I knew it was time to leave the firm. I knew there was something bigger. I just didn't know what, but I knew I wanted to create this space, and so. I feel like so many of us, we want to press the easy button, which ends up being more suffering.
Right.
This took courage for me to leave an amazing paying job with flexible hours with people I love. But I knew that I needed to be in this space. And so the other cruel part, Nicole, is that I've taken my collegiate coaching experience, also my youth coaching experience. So I've coached youth softball for about, I think it was 6 years. So I've had over 20 plus years of coaching, 12 at the collegiate level. And I work with athletes. So I am currently, I work with 3 collegiate teams for the last 3 years. I've worked with 5 or 6 regular high school teams. I work with several club teams. I do one-on-one coaching with athletes. And it's all about mindset, meditation, mindfulness, getting into the flow state. How does your body feel? I mean, all of those things.
I love that. Oh
yeah. So that's the other part. So I do, stuff with women. We do retreats, usually in Galena with Stephanie at Bella Yoga. I'm at Co, and then I'm doing all the athletics space. And so
you've taken your background in collegiate athletics. You've taken your meditation practice and training and skills that you've learned with that and have created this beautiful space and environment for people, whether it's the faculty, staff, and students at Co, the athletes you work with, women that come to the workshops and retreats, to truly just be present in the moment, find some peace, even if it's just for that moment, right? Which that's fantastic. And the ripple effects. I mean, what I'm hearing in all that you're saying is this has just become so much, it's your purpose, it's your calling, and it's having this magnificent ripple effect in the community that you're serving and the people that you're serving. And I think earlier you were talking about how you knew you just wanted something different. Like you wanted, like, is this it? Like, I think we all have those moments and I'm like, is this it? Is this career or this whatever it is? This is kind of it for me. And you're saying you're going to buck the trend. You're going to say, no, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. There's so much more for me out in this world, and I'm going to serve others, and I'm going to use this impactful experience that I had. You didn't just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Which you could have, right?
Which I could have, because
I was like, you weren't like ready to run out the door and start meditating with other people. You were like, I'm going to do, but it kept feeling, and you said, I'm ready at your graduation. Like that's huge. Like, so I love that you didn't keep it to yourselves. And I think that sometimes our tendencies, maybe it's fear holding us back, or, something else. Well, I have this really neat experience, or I had this skill, and it doesn't have to manifest itself in a business or a practice or anything, but share it somehow, right? Put it out there, even if it's with family and friends, or like you've done, reaching out into different spheres in the community to share this gift with other people and help them through that. That is just absolutely fabulous. I love it.
Oh, thank you. And I think it's also just giving people an opportunity to see a different perspective, look at things through a different lens.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I didn't know. Like, what if I wouldn't have went to that one class? Like, I think about that.
Oh,
what if I didn't take the one meditation class where I felt so uncomfortable day one,
right?
Where I'm like, I even thought, should I be here?
Right. Where's the door?
Can
I leave?
And then I had the courage to stay. And then I had this curiosity. And then I went deeper.
Right.
And so that's what I want to create, or that's what I feel like I'm trying to create for people, is to not just the, hey, you're going to feel calm or peace, because that takes time. That's a practice. But just giving them little tools, whether it's intention setting or morning routines or just different things. And Lindsay's book is a great example.
Yeah.
I mean, I was allowed to read that before it went to print, and I sent her a message and I'm like, girl, you are going to be on stages, because her story is woven throughout it, but the tools and practices that she puts in there for everybody, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm like, it is truly amazing.
Right. And it can apply, as I was reading it, you can apply it to all different parts of your life. It could be professional, it could be personal things, it could be whatever. What I love that she says about the book, because I think a lot of us look for books like Lindsay's. Well, just tell me what to do. Yep. Give me the answers. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. I want the 5 steps to a happier life, or whatever, right? We want that little checklist that I can go down.
I want the easy button.
In order,
easy button.
Right. And her book doesn't do that. Her book gives you more questions to dive deeper and dig deeper than just that surface level 5 steps to a happier life kind of thing, which is what I loved when I was reading it. I messaged her. I think I got to page 20, or I think it was maybe 23. There was something in there that just was gut punch, wow. I messaged her and I was like, okay, you got to put a wording label on this thing. It is so good. It is so good. And I'm so excited for her. And that's the other thing that I love, is that you are lifting other people up with this and it's not so new, but what you're doing now. I think a lot of things, we go through in our life kind of, what am I going to get out of this? Or what am I, how am I going to benefit? I want to read Lindsay's book. What am I going to get out of it? For me, and I feel like this is another thing you're doing, is you're lifting others up through this. You didn't just kind of hoard this training and practice that you got. You are lifting others up, giving them tools, giving them things that they can start to use to help themselves. And what a legacy to leave, right? What a legacy to have, that you can help, whether it's an athlete that's having a tough season, or a college student who's struggling with a relationship, or whatever the case may be, or the woman who had lost her husband. What a gift. I mean, it's amazing.
You're so sweet.
Well, it's what I'm feeling as you're talking, and again, I want listeners to know it doesn't have to be something big, but I would love to encourage people. What is something that you can do to help lift up someone? It might even just be giving someone a compliment. It could be something super simple and quick, but it could have such a lasting, like you said, what if you had not taken that class or been invited? Yeah. What if that person would have said, oh yeah, Jodi's just, she's too busy. She's not going to want to do this. I'm not going to even say anything.
And those, Nicole, those are like the heart whispers. Yeah. So like I put a card in someone's mailbox, and on the front of the card, it says, God's got this. And I wrote them just like 2 sentences, and that was it, because that was on my heart.
Yeah.
It's sending someone a text, or it's you see a woman walking in the grocery store and she's got this hot pink, shirt on, and you're like, dang, that's a good color on you.
Yeah.
So often we don't even do that.
No. We might have a thought in our head, but we don't act on it. We don't say the compliment. We don't put the card in the mailbox, and you just don't know how much that's going to impact somebody.
That's an impact. It is. I truly believe I was born with a compassion gene. Like it's deep in my heart, my soul, that I am here for service. I say every single day before I meditate, I am open, I am ready. I am open to for whatever the universe is to show me. I am ready to serve where needed.
Yeah, I love that.
And so I'm in that space. And I just want to be a guiding light for my girls.
Yeah.
What does a strong female look like who's caring, compassionate? It doesn't have to be this big hurrah, look at me.
No. And it doesn't have to be either or. You can be a strong woman and have a really, like you said, compassionate, giving, serving, loving heart.
Yes.
And you can be all those things.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people are like, well, I've either got to be strong, independent, fierce, or if you think of yourself as compassionate and soft, that you're somehow weaker. I'm like, no, I think it takes so much strength to do that and to have that type of mentality.
It does take more strength.
Well, yeah, because sometimes you want to just tell people, listen, here now.
Yeah.
And just you let it fly. But no, you take a step back. You say, okay, no, I'm not going to put that hat on. I'm going to put this other compassionate, kind, loving servant.
It's a superpower.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah. Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. Well, Jodi, this has been absolutely amazing.
Yay.
I have so enjoyed talking with you. I will put links in the show notes to your page and information if people would like to attend your events or work with you somehow.
And you can find me online at Insight Timer. So I am on that app.
Insight Timer. Perfect.
I know that's the one thing I forgot to mention. So I have 12 meditations online that you can access for free.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
So,
I will link to those so people can check those out, and then they can go and find out when your next workshop is or your next retreat is and sign up and try it out. Again, don't be afraid to try it and to learn more and be open, right? Be open, be ready, be open, be ready. I love that because you don't know what can happen from one simple step,
That's right.
Hitting that button, I'm registering or I'm signing up or whatever, the power that can have. So this has been awesome. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow the show to make sure the latest episode is on your podcast feed each week. I would greatly appreciate a rating and a 5-star review on the podcast platform you're listening on. It helps others to find the show. If there are topics you'd like me to discuss on the show, please email me at themarvelousmiddleagepodcast@gmail.com or direct message me on Instagram at Nicole Stute. Thank you for listening.